Hey everybody, I'm Justin with Veteran Compost, and today I'm going to talk about the 10 things I wish someone had told me when I got started in composting. Now, usually the videos on our channel, I try to keep them really short and sweet. There's nothing worse than someone burying the lead and going on and on YouTube and not answering questions. Today is a little bit different because I'm going to try to force myself, give a little backstory. It's a little weird having this camera in selfie mode, feel like I'm interviewing myself or talking to myself here. But, understand that I started in composting, 12 years ago now. So I started in 2010. And when I started, the number of private composters in the mid-Atlantic, I could count on one hand. There really was nobody doing it. And it's kind of cool to see in just the last couple of years, a lot of people getting into this industry and a lot of people asking, me about getting started, or they're thinking about it, or they're scaling and things like that. And thought I'd make a couple of videos kind of talking about my experience, maybe save people some pain and give folks some stuff to think about. So, bear with me here as I kind of yammer on. Hopefully there's some gems in here. If there's some stuff that you think I miss, let me know. Maybe I didn't hit all 10 things, and I didn't rank these, so they're in no particular order. But the first thing I would say is, if you're thinking about getting started in composting, and you're putting together your business plan, you're probably telling your friends and your family, they're probably telling you this is a great idea. I'm the one to tell you, maybe you shouldn't do it. If no one else has told you that, let me be the guy who tells you that. And I'll only say that because, when you go and tell your friends and family about starting a business, they love you and they're going to support whatever you say. And they're going to probably tell you, positive things, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. Or they believe in you, and that's a good thing too. But, know that the people we hang out with, we live in silos nowadays. So your friends probably are like-minded like you and would agree with that composting is a great idea because you guys probably all compost or love the planet. So just know that it's tough. It's tough. Everything is going to cost way more money than you budget. It's going to take up a ton of your time. And it's going to be a grind for like a while until you get to a point where hopefully you can break even or make money. So just know that if everyone's telling you this is a great idea and you're really excited, I'm not trying to tell you don't do it, but I'm just saying maybe you shouldn't, or definitely make sure you're committed and you're ready, because it's a heck of a grind. And I don't know anybody out there who said, I got into composting and it was way easier than I had thought it would be. So that's number one. Let's just put that out there. Not trying to be negative guy. Over the last 12 years, have there been times that I've regretted this decision? There is. But I think I'm at a point now in my career where I would say if I could do it all over again, I would just ask that I could maybe take back some of the knowledge I have now back to the beginning when I started over and maybe skip some of the pain. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Is I enjoy being a composter. I really like where this is at. I feel like this industry's heading in a great direction in some ways, but just know if you're thinking about doing this, it's a heck of a grind. It is not an easy way to make a buck. The second thing is, whatever you're doing at whatever scale, focus on making great compost. If you're focused on making great compost, you'll never have trouble selling this stuff because great compost, there's always a market for it. Number two, if the end product is a great compost, everything else is going to fall in line. The process that you use, the materials that you source, the way you operate your business. If you're focused on making great compost, all the other parts of the business are going to come together. The people that make junk, they struggle. They have tough times. In Wilmington, Delaware, Peninsula Compost, $30 million facility, they couldn't give the compost away at one point. So even when you have lots of money, lots of resources, some of these awesome facilities that are out there with big budgets, they make crap and they have trouble moving it, or they sell it at a super low rate. If you make great compost at any scale, if you do that, you're always going to have a market for your finished product. And you're always going to have an operation that probably runs pretty well because it takes all the other things to fall into line to make great compost. And at the end of the day, if you're doing all this hard work, why would you want to make junk? If you're going to work really hard and put all this energy into it, just make good stuff. I mean, I take a lot of pride in the stuff we make, and the best compliment we get is repeat business or people sending us pictures of their garden. And for me and our staff, that is like the best compliment we can get because we put so much work into that, that feels really good. The next thing, labor is going to be really tough. So maybe you like composting, maybe the first person or two you hire really likes composting, but the general 99.9% of America doesn't want to work hard anymore. Like, look at the statistics of how many people never want to go back to work in an office, let alone go do dirty stuff like this. So as you're looking at your business and as you're looking forward and trying to scale, just try to think about, well, what's my labor plan? And if you can develop any kind of labor pipeline, whether it's working with training programs or workforce development programs, whatever you can do, that would be great. Because for us over the years, my biggest struggle has been labor. If I could find 20 or 30 hardworking cats at a time, we could take over the world. Our current head count is around 25 people. I love the team we have now, but it is hard to find replacements for the people we have. So just know that labor is going to be a struggle. And for the most part, that's the biggest impediment to growth. That's the thing that's going to stop you from growing. How about that? By the way, I don't edit these videos. This is all one take here. All right. This one's going to be controversial. I'm working on another LinkedIn post or blog on this, but environmentalists are not going to be your friend or best customer. So green on green crime is a thing. We face it a lot. So we're trying to build a new compost facility and we have environmental groups coming out against us. We have people that criticize us for driving diesel powered trucks because that's not green enough. We have people that criticize us for taking meat products and bones and shells in our products, that we should make a vegan product and not support, animal industry and things like that. So however green you are, it'll never be green enough for a certain population. So as you make your business plan, people that are really environmentally minded, that's awesome. We need more of those folks to make the world go round, but they all compost in their backyard. They're going to tell you all about their backyard bin and then not buy any of your stuff or not sign up for your service. So if you can have environmental allies, that's great, but just be prepared that environmentalists are kind of like sneaky tough guys out there that might jack you up. So just be prepared for that. Once again, it's great that people want to save the planet. It's just frustrating when you're a for-profit or at least trying to be a break even in the compost world, and it's an unexpected roadblock at times when you're out there doing stuff. Collecting food scraps, in my view, or any kind of organic waste, whether it's going to be manure or whatever you're going to collect, yard waste, hauling is a necessary evil. I never planned on being the owner and operator of a trucking company. That's kind of where we ended up because we wanted to guarantee a steady, clean supply of feedstocks. So we collect food scraps from homes, offices, businesses, in all kinds of different scales. And that's because we need a regular, steady, clean supply of food scraps. Now we have some companies that bring stuff to us, but they don't do it regularly, right? So like we have a major trash company. You may have seen their trucks. They always paint them green and talk about how green they are. But 9 out of 10 dumpsters that are scheduled to come to us from their customers, they take to the landfill. So we can't budget the money or the feedstock in our production schedule because a lot of times those dumpsters don't show up to us. So hauling is a necessary evil. Whether or not you're planning on doing it, maybe you just wanted to run a facility and you really like making compost, just know that you may find yourself backed into hauling this stuff yourself. The downside of the hauling business, so my next point is, and you can think about this at your own house, is you're expected to be there 100% of the time. So no one's going to call you and say, hey, thanks for coming 20 times in a row. That was awesome. It's the one time you miss it or that you're late and you're going to get a call. So you want to talk about thankless jobs. Being in the waste or recycling or compost collection business is the epitome of a thankless job. People will only call you when you missed a stop and they don't care that you had a flat tire or that someone didn't show up or that there's an ice storm. They want their stuff picked up. And that's how we are at our home too, right? We all want my trash bin here behind me at the street or my recycling bin to be collected. And if they don't come, everyone's on the horn. So you got to know that if you're in the collection business, if you're just going to do collection, you want to be a food waste hauler, just know that you got to be mentally and spiritually prepared for that beatdown, because it's a really big bummer. Like you worked an all-nighter to pull it all off, to try to stay caught up, and then you missed one stop and they just dog cuss you on the phone. And so just be prepared for that, especially if people are paying for your service. They expect, so people expect 100% collection all the time. So just be prepared for that when you're thinking about starting a collection business. Next point, understand that it's an unfair marketplace. So municipalities, they're not concerned about making a profit. And there's some nonprofits that are out there as well in this space. So when it comes to pricing of services and pricing of products, understand that there's going to be people out there that don't care about making a profit. And if you're a composter that's trying to break even or make a buck, that can be tough. So you need to think about how you're going to be able to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. So in our case, municipalities give away compost literally for free in the town in which we operate. Or in other areas, they sell it for rock bottom prices per bag. And what we've done is, you go back to what I said previously, we focus on quality. And so we make a product that's yard waste free, manure free, biosolids free. So it's a clean product. It's really high quality. And that's how we sell it. Is we don't sell on price, we sell on quality. And for the people who are interested, there we are. And the people that aren't interested, we give them the address for the local landfill or the water treatment plant. So that's fine. And so if you're going to be in the marketplace, you got to think about how you're going to differentiate yourself when there's kind of some unfair market situations that have to deal with pricing. The next thing, people view commercial collection as a cost center. So residential customers, if you're doing residential collection, they're making a choice to pay extra money. They're really excited to do the right thing. They're early adopters to composting. That's awesome. But on the commercial side, people view it as a cost center. So we literally compete against companies that take people's food scraps to the landfill, and they don't care because that's the cheapest option. So people only care about it happening at the lowest rock bottom price on commercial collection. So understand that, once again, like we talk about differentiating yourself, we differentiate on service and on being ethical. And there's some customers that like that, but we know that at some point, a lot of people just want the job done for the cheapest price. So just know that that's going to be out there as you plan your business model, that people view collection as a cost center. And as soon as someone else comes along and is a nickel cheaper, off down the road they go. So just have that in mind as you do your thing. The next thing I wish someone had told me, there's a lot of paperwork. So depending on where you are. So when I started in Maryland in 2010, I wrote I think it was an 8-page Word document. I sent them a $120 check and off I went. That was how I got started. Now the permitting process, we have to have consultants, we have to have lawyers, we have to have engineers, all kinds of stuff. On our most recent project, we've had fire protection engineers, landscape engineers, just your regular run-of-the-mill civilian engineers from a couple different firms, all of that just to get a small manure composting facility built. So just know that there's a lot of paperwork. As the industry scales, there's only going to be more registrations, more licenses, more permits. You can rage against the machine, or you can do what we do and try to work within the machine. So as frustrating as it is at times, what I try to do is just try to work within the system, work with our regulators, try to have at least, a somewhat friendly relationship, and go from there. But just be prepared that it's not just grab a shovel and get going. And it may be at first, but as you get bigger, or as the area in which you live becomes more developed, there may be more permitting. Or if you're the first composter in your area, there may be no rules. And what happens sometimes is everyone throws the book at you and says, we don't understand this, so we're not going to let you get started. So you may see no paperwork when you first get started, or you may see a ton. And then as the industry scales across the country, over the next 5-10 years, there's just gonna be more and more paperwork. So just be prepared to do some paperwork, or find someone to do it for you. So the last thing I'll talk about, this is completely not business plan related, this is more of an equipment thing, is screening your compost is gonna become one of the things that's gonna really kind of be a bottleneck in terms of operations, pricing, and all that stuff. How are you going to screen your compost as you grow? So you may be able to screen it by hand or with a throw screen as a community composter to get started. But as you get bigger, or as you start to size more material, you're going to need to think about screeners. So I'm going to do a couple of videos about screeners, but just know that screeners are usually one of the biggest expenses, one of the biggest purchases you need to make. And it's usually the thing that moves lockstep with your growth. So if you're not hip to trommel screens, I suggest you start checking them out and seeing what the equipment looks like. If you're doing anything over a couple of tons a month, you're going to need some kind of electrical or diesel powered screener. So understand that as you look at equipment planning for the business, other than trucks and loaders, a lot of that you can scale or rent or get started. The screener is the one piece of equipment in our industry that's usually pretty specialized. They're not just growing on trees. You got to kind of chase them down, find them. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Like when I bought my first trommel screen, that piece of equipment cost more than everything else I owned in the business at the time. So that, for me, that was like a really scary day to sign the paperwork. For the screener salesman, it was just Tuesday. So know that as you grow, screener is going to be the one piece of equipment you're going to want to educate yourself on, and you're going to want to kind of think about, what's my plan as I grow my business? How am I going to screen this compost so that I can go from raw materials to a finished product that someone wants to buy? So there you go. There's the 10 things that I would recommend thinking about as you start a compost business. If there's something I think that I missed, put it in the comments. If there's something that you'd like to see me talk about more in kind of the compost journey, let me know. We'll make some more videos. I'll try to be a positive guy. I'll only shoot these videos on days where nothing at the facility is broken and everyone showed up to work, so that I'm in a good mood. I'm Justin with Veteran Compost. Good luck out there and happy composting.